We're waiting for Geshe Michael. He was very sad to hear this news, so he acted quickly and he wanted to organize this webinar for us all. So we wanted to the format that we're going to use is we're going to have 30 minutes, a quick class that he's going to give for us, and the other 30 minutes he's going to do Q&A. So please make sure that you post your questions in the Q&A chat, and we should be getting Geshe Michael very soon. Thank you very much. Hi, Geshe.
Hola, hi.
Okay, the floor is yours. Thank you for coming.
Wait, you're not okay. All right, good.
Oh, sorry. We were talking about the format that we're going to do before you arrived. That we're going to do half an hour classes,
Okay.
and then the other half an hour Q&A.
Okay, good, good. Okay, good. Can you hear me okay? Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay, good, good. All right, good morning, everybody. So I guess we all feel the same. I feel very nervous and afraid, and I feel upset. And I start feeling angry a little bit at the big people, and then I'm trying to keep my practice, and I'm trying to remember all of the things I learned and all of the things that I teach, and I'm trying to use them. And I think the big thing for me right now is to try to remember to use what I learned. And it's funny, we are talking about the two husbands in the kitchen almost every day. And Grandpa Diedushka, I'm talking about it, abuelo, right? I'm talking about it almost every day. And then I'm like you guys, when something happens, then I forget everything, and I get upset or I get angry or afraid, and so I think, and I couldn't sleep last night, and I'm thinking, for me, what I would like to do is I took 3 or 4 little pieces of things that I wrote in the last 20 years that I think they talk about this problem that we now have. And so I thought, like Seiji said, we could do like half an hour. I'd like to review those old teachings with you guys, and it's not just for you; it's for me also. I need it also, and so I thought I would go through the old teachings about it for half an hour, and then after that, I'd like to open it up for question and answer. And I don't think it's so much a teaching today, but I think it's just people who care about compassion, and we care about we care about other people. And I think it's mostly just a reason for us to get together and support each other from all countries. So I feel like we are a big family, and we love each other very much. And I think nothing will change this. And we when we have trouble like this, we have to meet. The family has to meet together. Like when your birth family had trouble, your parents used to sit everybody down at the table and talk about things, and then everybody feels a little bit more centered, and we remember our mission. We remember why we have all these organizations and all classes. Yesterday, somebody told me, Geshe, you look exhausted, but we feel more exhausted because you're teaching too many classes, and and I think I was like, yeah, I know it's like that, but now comes the time, right? In every person's life comes a time that we have to use what we learned, right? And I think in these hard times, we have to use what we learned. And all of the classes, all of the translations, all of the ancient books, it's all for this, it's all for this. So it's like a military training, So we are training, and now today the war came, and now we have to use what we learned, So I'm gonna just go through this little reading I sent out. So I put together a reading about some old things I wrote about these questions, and I'll go through them for about half an hour, and then let's just talk like family and talk about how we can help the situation and how we can help each other. And I think especially how we can help to remember our practice and remember what we learned. And this is the time to use it. And it's kind of a warm-up for dying, Like this is a very dangerous and difficult time for many of our friends. Then other people like me, we are sitting at home. My most difficult thing is to choose which green drink I'm going to have this morning. And, I feel far away from the problem. But actually, this same problem will come to all of us, right? In time. Nobody's free from these problems. The problem will come to my house, and especially when I reach my death, I have to understand these things. I have to use them. Okay, so I'm gonna share my screen. Nah, I think I'll just read it straight. Let me see. Let me go get it. Oh, and then Seiji, after about half an hour, maybe you can choose some of the questions to answer, right? Anna Ili, I was thinking 1 hour. So we do a half hour grandpa talk, and then half an hour we do some questions, yeah? And Seiji, if you can choose the questions from the...
Yeah, we have a lot of questions here.
All right. Yeah. And usually grandpa talks too much in the answer. And I'll try to actually answer the question quickly. Okay, so let me get my let me get up. Yeah. So first of all, well, I have 4 different readings that I chose for this problem. And if you don't have a copy, I think that it's been translated into Russian and other languages. And if you didn't get a copy, then just ask Maria or Anton or Inna, and you can get a copy. So the first part, I don't know, 22 years ago, I remember I was living at the Mongolian temple, small Mongolian monastery, and I used to go in the temple by myself at night, and I would write down some ideas I had for a little book, and the book was called The Garden, and it was a very beautiful time in my life. I was mostly alone, and I was in the monastery, and at night it was very quiet, and I could sit in the temple was empty, and I would just sit and think about this garden. And the story of the garden is there's a young man, and he meets a young lady in the garden, and then he by the way, let me show you a picture. I show you from my wall. So that's the garden picture. This painting was made for me by a Mongolian painter. This is the original from mineral paints made in Mongolia. And so it's a story about a young man and a girl and in a garden. And the young man talks to different masters. And he asked them questions in the story. And one of the questions is, I'll read you the question, okay? So they're talking about some kind of way of thinking that hurts all of us, that hurts everybody. And the young man is asking a question in the story, the Buddhist master named Guna Prabha, he comes to the garden and they start talking. And the young man has a question. And if you know Guna Prabha, he wrote the Vinaya Sutra. So the young man gets to ask a question to Guna Prabha. And first they talk about problems with the soil, with the earth. So in some parts of the world, like I lived in India, I used to go there a lot, and there's something wrong with the soil there. The soil is used for so many thousand years that it's very difficult to grow crops there. Even you take the seed, a good seed, and you try to grow it in parts of India, the dirt is tired. People have been planting the same things for thousands of years, and actually the dirt doesn't grow. The crops don't grow very well. And so the young man asked this Vinaya master, what's the cause for this change in the earth, in the soil? And then the master says, well, of course it's because they were taking the life of animals, taking the life of people in that country, the people living there. And then because they took the life of other people, it changed the soil in their country. and it won't grow very well. You see, things won't grow there very well because of taking life before. And then, because of that answer, the young man, he's like, he starts to think about something else, you know. And he says, then is it true that people can plant seeds together? If all the people in one country can plant the seeds to have bad soil, the soil gets tired, then are you saying that it's possible for people to plant seeds together? Yeah. And the teacher says, yes, people from all countries can plant seeds together. And that's what makes the borders between countries. You know, and the young man's a little confused. He thinks, oh, the borders between countries, those are political borders. Those are created by politicians or by generals. You know, these are not created by the people in the country. And the teacher says, no, you know, you have to go stand on the border. I used to go stand on the border between Mexico and America just for fun. I put 1 foot in America and I put 1 foot in Mexico. And I tried to feel, is there a difference in the dirt or where's the line? I couldn't see the line. And we think that the line was drawn by politics or some war, but actually the line was drawn by seeds, right? The border between countries is drawn by the seeds of the people on each side. And after this program, I have to go to Peachtree Cafe. And we are filming a new series about how to eat well. And it will be part of YSI and part of Prana Move. And the main idea of the show is people have too much food and they have to try not to eat so much, you know. And we have a whole TV show about it, how to eat healthy if you have a lot of money. And then, I don't know, 2 hours from here, 3 hours from here, there's many people who don't have any food, can't get food. And who made the border between them, you see? And then the young man in the garden, he asked a question, you know, are you saying that if 2 countries go to war, you know, then if the soldiers of one country kill the people in another country, or both ways, then does everybody in the country get a seed? And the Vinaya master says, yes, everybody gets a seed. Everybody in the country, if you support the killing, you get the seed. Even if you are not a soldier, but in my case, I pay taxes. I pay taxes in many countries. I actually pay taxes in Ukraine and Russia also. So, you know, in a way, I'm supporting 2 different armies and the American army. So I'm supporting many armies. So then they say, well, Geshe, are you making seeds? Are you making seeds to have violence in your life? And the main answer is, if you, in your heart, if you don't support hurting other people, if strongly in your heart, if you don't support hurting other people and animals, you don't make a seed, okay? You do not make a seed. And if you try peacefully to stop violence and to start with yourself, right? I mean, that's the the main thing we have to talk about today is, the violence that we see in the kitchen. The big thing we have to remember is it's coming from me. It's always coming from me. I cannot blame other people, and it's foolish to hate other people. In fact, if you understand the seeds, it's impossible to hate another country's people. It's not possible. And that's the whole idea of learning these teachings. If I understand seeds, then I understand that the violence I see is coming from me in the kitchen and also in the country, So, and fixing the violence, it doesn't come from forcing someone to stop violence. Oftentimes that becomes violence also, to force other people. The way to change the violence is to fix the seeds in myself. And two kinds of seeds, right? One is, I must have done violence in the past, and violence doesn't have to be shooting somebody. Violence can be just getting angry at somebody in your family or getting angry at somebody in your job and trying to hurt them. And then because the seeds double every day, it's possible that the small violence in our family or our job, it will grow into big violence. So really, I have to try to think about the violence I did in my family or my job to my friends in the past. And then secondly, I have to try to make a dedication to this war. I have to dedicate my good seeds, and that means I have to try very, very hard in this next few months. I have to try very, very hard to stop being violent in small ways to my friends, my family, people I live with, people I work with. And I have to try very hard to stop the violence in my own heart. And the big violence is coming from that. So anyway, in the garden book, the question is about self-defense. If my country is attacked by another country, can I kill the people who are attacking my family or my country? Can I kill them? Is it okay to kill them? And the answer is that this is another turning of the wheel. Then the wheel will turn again. I will kill the attacker to protect my family. And then I will plant the seed again to be attacked in the future. And then I will kill again. And there's no end to it. That's why the wheel of life is a wheel, and we don't think about it much, but responding to violence with violence and responding to violence with hatred, it just creates more wheel. The wheel just continues, Oh, Geshe, then should I do nothing? Should I just let people hurt me, And no, that's not the case either. We're going to talk about it. The next reading that I sent you guys, it's from DCI level 10, which is about anger. And it's life tool inside that level. It's called my mother with a knife, And this comes from a true story. Veronica's mother, we were trying to help her in the nursing home. We used to go pretty often. She died in August, but before that, for 20 years we were taking care of her. And so she had a problem with her medicines. She would take too much medicine by accident. She forgot if she took it already today. And even we put the medicine in a box and we put the date on the box, still she would take she'd take it 2 times or 3 times. And then she'd get a little bit crazy, you know. And then sometimes you can imagine if your mom took her, if she's 90 years old and she took the wrong medicine, she took too much, and then she gets a little bit crazy. And this, in the story in DCI level 10, the old lady takes too much medicine. She gets a little bit crazy. Then her daughter, like Veronica or me, we come to visit her, and she hears the door opening, you know, and somebody has the key, and she's cooking something, and she's because she took the medicine too much, she's a little bit crazy, and she thinks somebody's coming in the house to murder her. So she grabs a knife, a big steak knife, and she comes to the door to defend herself, you know. And then you open the door, and your own mother come at you with a knife, you know. And then what are you supposed to do, you know, if it's your own mother? What's the right thing to do? And it's not the right thing to do to stand there and let your mother stab you and kill you. That's not helpful also. She will make bad things. But also, if it's my mom, you know, I'm not going to shoot her, or I'm not going to kill her. I will try to help her to not do violence. So I don't know. I imagine with my mom, I will grab her around the waist, or I will fall down. I will try to take the knife out of her hands. Even if she cuts me a little bit, it's okay. I wouldn't kill her, you know. I would try to stop her peacefully, or try to do anything I can do without violence to stop her. So it's not wrong to defend yourself. It's not wrong to try to stop people from doing violence. But if we try to kill a person who's trying to kill us, then I think we are almost the same as this person. And if it was our mom, I don't think we would kill them. I think we would be killed first before we would kill the mom. So that's the second reading I put in and you can read the whole thing. It's kind of long. It's been translated into many languages. The third part of this letter I sent you guys, it's about the 2 husbands in the kitchen. And that's just, you know, it's the whole story. And we come home to the kitchen, we're tired. We worked hard. We bought the groceries. We picked up the kids. We spent the whole day making money for the family. And we're tired. And we're hoping we can come home, and my husband or my wife will just look at me and say, "Oh, honey, you look so tired, and thank you for buying the groceries. Thank you for taking care of the kids, you know. Thank you for working and making money for us, and, you know, welcome home." And they give you a big hug, and, you know, maybe they cook dinner for you. And instead of that, you come in the kitchen and they yell at you for no reason. They just say, "Oh, you're such an idiot," durak. And then you feel so terrible, you feel so bad. Someone's attacking you and you didn't do anything. And then you guys know the story. We have to remember that we caused it. We planted the seeds. And if we think about it for even a short time, we can understand that this is coming from me. Maybe I yelled at my kids, last week. We can find the small seed that grew into a big tree. We can find it. If we look, we can find it. And then we just have to try to stop it. It's too late to stop it in the kitchen. Once the seed opens, nobody in the universe, there's nobody, Buddha, God, nobody can put the tree back in the seed. It's not possible. It won't happen. All we can do is try to change our future behavior and try to make a promise that we will not do even the small violence. And that's why I think personally, how I can help the situation in Ukraine and Russia. What can I do in Arizona? And I think all of us, we can help that situation. That situation is coming from all of us. It's not the fault of somebody in Ukraine. It's not the fault of Russian. It's coming from all of us. It's the fault of everybody. So we planted those seeds. We created that war. And now we have choice. Maybe we can stop it together. And I think when we're doing our meditations, we every day, every morning, just say, today, how can I do less violence? I already did my meditation today. I already stopped some small violence I was doing to somebody. I already took care of it this morning. And I think if we can do it every morning, then we can change the seeds and this situation will change. But when you plant a seed, it takes time to grow, and there's nobody in the universe can make a seed grow in 2 hours or 2 days. We all have to change our personal behavior and stop doing small violence to other people. And then we have to dedicate the seed to this problem in Ukraine and Russia. Last thing for me, I live in a very peaceful place. I don't have these problems. I have death problem, but I don't have a attack problem or military problem. And I have a good life, and I have a good income, and I have good work. And I think in a practical way, in addition to changing our seeds, I think we have to work very, very hard with money, with support, to help the people who are suffering in Ukraine. And already yesterday, our group here, we know some of the people from Ukraine who left Ukraine already. They are already refugee inside of Europe. And we are trying to arrange for their housing. We are trying to rent places for them. We are sending money. We are contacting friends in Europe who can help them find them place to stay. And we are offering to pay. And I think we all have to do something like that, even if it's only $5 or $10. But what money you have, if you have 10,000, that's okay also. But we are this small group in Arizona, we are taking responsibility to find them a place to stay, to support them financially, and help them to find a new life and a new way to live until things are peaceful again. So I think, of course, we have to work with our seeds. And that's the most important thing. But at the same time, all of us have to find ways to support. Now there's new refugees. Maybe there will be 1 million refugees. I don't know. And then we have the power and we have the honor to take care of them and to help them. We have enough to eat here. We have enough money. We can share the money we have, and we can help people in a real way. Okay, politically, I think tension is very high around the world, and people are feeling very emotional, even in Asia, even in America, Mexico, South America. And I don't think it's the time, and I don't think it will help to blame other countries or to criticize other countries. It's not going to change the situations. I don't think it's practical. If I try to go to those countries and criticize somebody or try to express my anger or blame somebody, the lady in the kitchen, she goes to the bathroom and she looks in the mirror and she sees who really caused the war in the kitchen, So I don't think it's the time to criticize our governments. I don't think it's the time to. It's not going to work. I don't think they will listen. And if we change our scenes and we do everything we can do to help people, I think that's practical. And I went to jail during the Vietnam War. I went to jail and I criticized the government, but I don't think that's the most powerful help we can do. I think we have to change our seeds, and then we all have a chance to contribute and help financially or help people find a place to stay or things like something peaceful, some peaceful way to help. Last thing, okay, and then I'll open up for questions. There's a part in this letter, the fourth part, and there's a part in DCI, which is, let me see what's the name of this. Yeah, it's called Seed Burning Buddies. It means, there's an old joke, and I'm sorry to say it, it's a little bit naughty, but that's my style. So anyway, one guy says, sitting by the side of the road, in Tibet, long time ago, like hundreds of years ago, and he's meditating, and some guy walking down the road, and he saw this guy meditating, and he tapped him on the shoulder, he says, "What are you doing?" And the guy says, "I'm meditating, I'm a big meditator." And then the guy tapped his shoulder again, he said, "What are you meditating? What's your topic? What's your meditation object?" And the guy say, "I'm meditating on patience. I'm meditating how not to get angry." And then the other guy said, "You know what? I think you should just eat some shit. You should eat shit." And then the meditator got very angry, and he jumped up, and he wants to fight. And the other guy said, "Okay, bye. I'm just trying to help you with your meditation, you know. And he just walk away. So there's a tantric way to look at these problems. When somebody causes us a serious problem, there's a tantra way, diamond way, to look at this person, that maybe they are Buddha, you know. Maybe the guy who says eat shit, the guy who bothers the other guy, maybe he's a Buddha, you know. Maybe he's trying to help him with something. And I think it doesn't hurt to remember the possibility that all this trouble is supposed to be a real teaching for us. And maybe the troublemakers are really somebody special trying to teach us something. So I know that's a very difficult idea. I know it's difficult to hold that idea, but in the end, we have to. In the end, it's the most powerful thing we can do. You know, somebody who loves us has created this problem for us so that we can grow and we can learn to do the right thing, and we can learn not to repay violence with violence. Yep. Okay. Those are my ideas. And Seiji, you got some questions for Grandpa?
Yeah, thank you very much for taking this time, Geshe. The first question actually came yesterday. And the question is, on one side, we have fear and anger towards the aggressor. On the other side, we have anger and hopelessness that we are the aggressor. And there's nothing much we can do. We don't agree with what is happening. But is there a way that we can truly affect the situation as a group and not just silently disagree and blame our governments?
Yeah, I think that's the perfect question. And I guess that's the main question today. And again, I repeat, I went to jail. During my country's war against Vietnam, a big group of us, we went to jail. We fought the government, and my thinking has changed since those days. You know, my thinking has gone deeper. I understand more things, and I really, really understand that this is coming from me. 10,000 miles away, this is coming from me. And I can stop it. So I think this, when you feel angry in the kitchen, you know, and by the way, somebody asked me, my neighbor came to my house yesterday and with her husband. And they said, Geshe Michael, you know, we are always fighting in our house, you know, can you give us some advice, you know? And I said, guess what? Me and Veronica also fight, you know, sometimes. And it's a human nature. We all do it, you know. After 50 years of meditation, Geshe Michael still get irritation at his wife sometimes, and she get irritated with me. And I think it's just important. Of course, we have bad days. Of course, we make mistakes. Of course, we are frustrated. Of course, we would like to criticize the government, or we would like to. I got angry when I heard about this yesterday. I was like, oh, I'm going to write a letter. I'm going to tell the goddamn politicians, you know, I'm going to. Then I realized that it's the same thing as the husband in the kitchen. It's no different. The fight in my family in the kitchen and this big fight, it's all the same seeds. I went to jail. I did that. I don't believe it will help. I think it's not the politicians' fault. It's our fault. It's we who plant the seeds. We planted the seeds. And if we can be a big family, which we are, and I'm very, very proud of our Russian-speaking family from all countries, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, Belarus, all Ukraine, Russia. We have such a beautiful family, and they work so hard for many years now to become a family. And finally, we're a family, and we are working together. And I think we are very powerful. We are not a country, but we are very powerful. We know about seeds, and we can stop this war, and we should stop this war. And this is why we're on this world, to stop these things. That's our job. That's why we're here. So let's work on our seeds, together. And it's not going to be fixed by politicians. It's going to be fixed by seeds. I believe that. Okay, Seiji.
Yeah, thank you. Our next question is, why do we get to see so many soldiers going into war, even though probably everybody knows that it's wrong? Why do they have to do these things against their beliefs?
Yeah, I'm thinking about these guys. It's my understanding that most of the soldiers are not volunteers. They are required to go and fight. And I also was thinking about the same question, probably the guys who are sent to fight, they don't really want to go. Most of them, I think 95%, they don't want to go. When America was hurting people in Afghanistan or Iraq, or, I think most of those guys, they didn't want to go. And they did everything to avoid going, And then finally they have to go. And they have families. They will get in trouble if they don't go. Their families will suffer. They will suffer. I think most of them, the ones I know who came out of the military, they are, and my father and Veronica's father, they were very bad alcoholic. And they saw many people get killed, and they killed many people. My father killed many people in the World War. Veronica's father was in a bomber. He killed many people in Europe. And when they came home, they became alcoholic, and they were violent also. And for the rest of their life, their whole life was ruined. A whole generation, their happiness was ruined. And so I think we have to remember that most of these guys, they don't want to kill anybody. They would love to stay home in their military base and have a nice dinner. And I think when someone shoots a gun at you, and I've had a gun shot at me, it changes your life forever to think that one other person want to kill you. It upset your mind for the rest of your life, So to be a soldier on either side and to meet somebody who wants to kill you, it's a very terrible, terrible change in your life to have even one person want to kill you. So I think we have to be compassionate to the soldiers also. They are just doing what their boss told them to do. If they don't do it, they will get big trouble. Their families will get big trouble. And if they do it, then the rest of their life is ruined. Nobody can forget killing somebody. And even if they never heard about the 10 good deeds, anybody who kills another person, they never recover. They're emotionally, spiritually, even if they don't believe in religion, they never recover. It's a terrible, terrible. They are victims. They are the worst victims. So I think we have to be we have to show some compassion to those guys. They are trying to not get in trouble, and so I think we have to show some compassion to them. I had a chance to meet the police who arrested me, and that was very interesting. They also, they don't want to go out and hurt people. They want to be home and with their family, and they want to eat a nice dinner and have a quiet day. And so I think we have to have compassion for these guys also. Yeah. Okay, Seiji.
The next question is, what seeds should we plant to see peace again and to deactivate the fear in our hearts?
Yeah, I think what I'm doing personally, and that's after 50 years of training, I know yesterday I started to make a plan of to check my own life and see what kind of violence am I doing, And I found some small things and some big things, and there's many kinds of violence. How we speak to other people is a kind of violence. Even how we think about other people, the thoughts we have about other people can be a kind of violence. So I think, in my opinion, after many years of practice, I think I have to, and I was kind of upset that, this war means my own practice is not good, or my own practice is, there's something wrong with my practice. And I was pretty upset about that. And then I thought, well, let me check my life. There must be some kinds of violence I am doing that are not too obvious. Like maybe I do small violence to people in how I talk to them. Or my friend Noor Ibrahim, who went through a terrible war in Syria, she said in her experience, and she lived with the war there for many years, she said this idea that if I upset other people's mind, so other people's mind is like a quiet lake. And if, when I meet them, if my mind is like a storm, like an ocean storm, and then I meet other people whose mind is peaceful, then automatically when they get close to me, I will upset their mind also. So upset mind spreads like COVID, when you are feeling angry or you are feeling upset, that attitude, even with your face or your gestures, it spreads to other people like COVID, and very quickly. And so Nora was saying, we met last night with Seiji and Nora, and we had dinner together, and we're Stanley and Elsa, and we were thinking, we should try to check our own mind and see if it's not peaceful and it's angry and it's upsetting other people. Then if we watch our mind and try to take the upset away from other people and not give them upset, I think that's a kind of nonviolence. That's ahimsa. That's nonviolence. So I think search your own life, and don't stop after 3 days. The newspapers, they will stop writing a lot about Ukraine in 2 weeks, 3 weeks. The politicians know it. The whole thing everybody will be suffering, but the newspaper will start to talk about something else. And we have to keep the motivation to try to help. We have to don't forget the suffering that people have. Sometimes the worst suffering is in the next 2-3 years. The suffering of the refugees long term. And usually people help refugees in the first 3 months, 2 months. And then after that, they forget and they think about another Netflix movie, So I think we have to be determined to keep helping people long term. And that's what ALL is doing. They are helping refugees after 35, 40 years. They are still helping them. And it's a long-term thing we have to do. We have to keep helping. Seiji.
Another question that came in is there something we can do as a group that might be more powerful than us doing things individually?
I think it's a great question. And I do believe that as a group, like even today, what we're doing together is very powerful. And I think we can share. I don't know. Why don't we try? I'll make a proposal. Maybe let's do another meeting like this in the next week. Let's do another meeting, and let's keep doing some meetings like this. And I think if we all make a commitment to do our meditation every day, and we make a commitment to check what small violence I am doing in my life. And then maybe next time we meet together, we can share what kind of small violence did we find in our life, and how did we stop it? How are we stopping it? So maybe let's have a meeting like that and get together and talk about what small violence did we find in our own heart. And it can be like a big sojong, like a big confession, I can talk about my violence in my heart. And maybe in the next week, let's meet again. And all of us can talk about what we found. And in this way, we can support each other. And the seeds are much, much more powerful. That's why monks and nuns are required to do sojong together twice a month. Yeah, like that. And we'll send out a notice, okay? And we'll meet. Let's try to meet in the next 5-6 days, okay? And everybody check a small violence in your heart. And then each of us can talk about what we found. And that way we can help each other to get rid of those things, yeah. Seiji, good? One more?
Yeah, there is one question actually related to what you just said.
Okay.
You talk about violence against humans, but does violence against animals have correlation with wars? Or, for example, another question asks, watching violent movies or violent series online, does that contribute to planting seeds to see this?
Yeah. I mean, yesterday, actually, we're filming at the Peachtree Cafe show. We are filming 8 TV shows. It's like a Netflix series. And because I bought this cafe, and unfortunately, this cafe serve a lot of meat. They serve pork, they serve beef, they serve chicken, they serve turkey, they serve tuna fish. And now Geshe has a problem, If I serve meat, then I'm helping to kill all those animals. And if I don't serve meat, nobody will come in this town, in my town, nobody will come. So we are having many, many meetings, many hours of planning of how to trick the customer to eat no meat. And how to stop using animal products in the food. And we are actually doing many days of testing how to remove the animal products and trick the customer to to eat something that doesn't kill anything. And yeah, definitely, I think the COVID, because it looks like it jumped from animals to people in the live animal markets, like the markets that sell live monkeys or live birds. It looks like the virus jumped from animals to humans. And I do believe it's because we are killing animals, and especially we are removing their houses. Every time we cut more trees or we ruin more forest, we are destroying their homes. And we don't think about it. So in the Vinaya, we are translating these ancient books of Vinaya, and it's a big idea that we shouldn't hurt the homes of the animals. For example, a monk or a nun, we are not allowed to cut a living tree without a special ritual. If it's really necessary, we can cut one, but otherwise we are not allowed to cut a living tree, because this is the home of many animals, and small, tiny animals. So I think it's very true. If we can stop this violence towards animals, I think we could help a lot. I think that probably there's some in the world, there's probably some country in the past where people eat people, like I know there's such a thing. They have a war, they kill the enemy, and then they eat them, and there is such a thing, in the past. And nowadays it seems very crazy to us. Oh my God, I mean, if you go to American grocery store and you say, I would like to have 2 pounds of human meat, they will go, oh my God, you are crazy, don't say such a thing, and as the world becomes more civilized, as the world learns more about seeds, I think maybe 10 years, 20 years from now, if you go to the store and you ask for some cow meat or chicken meat, maybe they will look at you like you're crazy. So I think it's possible, and I think we are all doing this big violence that we don't think about. So I'm going to wrap up there, Seiji. I think let's all think for a few days about the seeds, the small seeds we have for violence. Oh, and about the movies. In the Vinaya, a monk and nun, we are not allowed to go to a drama play. They didn't have television, right? They didn't have internet, but we are not supposed to go watch a play if they are killing people in the play. And of course it plants seeds in our minds. And I grew up with a war movie. My dad was in the war. He used to take us to the war movie. He used to play the war movie music at home. And then Veronica looked at me and say, this movie is violent. Let's leave. Let's leave now. Let's don't look at it, and it's correct. And I also have this habit. From my parents, they used to watch the war movies. And I think if we have you can always watch some romance or something like that. There's always something more beautiful. There's always something more pleasant to watch. So we don't need the violent movie. It doesn't help us. It's not very nice. And it doesn't hurt to just change the channel. And I think watching movie is good. Sometimes it's a good relaxation. I think it's fine. But we have choice to watch something more inspiring or some nice romance story or something like that, and then we don't make those bad seeds. So Seiji will send out invitation to you guys, let's say within the next 5 days. And you guys work for 5 days on your small violence seeds and be ready to share with us guys, be ready to share with us guys. What did you find? And then maybe we can help each other. And I think if we work as a team from all countries, that's a beautiful way to stop these seeds. If we work together from all countries and support each other, this big seed family, I think we can stop this war. Yeah, I think so. Let's try. Okay. All right, Seiji, Grandpa has to go to the peace tree show.
Yes, of course. Thank you very much for taking time. Okay.
Yeah.
And thank you to all the organizations. Something really cool that happened. All the organizations, all the partners came together in less than 24 hours. So
yeah,
I think it's a great legacy that you're giving the world. So thank you on behalf of all of us. Thank you for that.
Very cool. And we'll send out a invitation. So start checking your heart for small seeds, and we can all share with each other.
All right. Thank you very much.
And also, we have 12 worldview organizations like ACI, DCI, SCIM, Diamond Cutter Classics. The directors of each of the 12 organizations yesterday, they committed to find the financial support for anyone who's affected by this war. So if you know anybody who needs help, who needs financial help to find a new place to stay, or they need food, or they need medical, or anything, the whole world organization is ready to support people financially. And so please let me know, let your local organizer know, and we will help. We make this commitment. It's a peaceful commitment that we will help anyone who needs help, as far as we can financially. We can all sacrifice a little bit to help these people who need us, okay? All right, so we're ready for you. Just let us know, okay? All right, see you then. Bye. Okay.